So I find that in helping children understand how to study the Bible, it's helpful for them to have an overview of basic Bible facts. So when I'm teaching children, I start off and I say, how many books are in the Bible? And they answer back, 66 great books. How many books are in the Bible? 66 great books. And how many main parts is the Bible divided into? 2 main parts. What are those main parts? The Old Testament and the New Testament. Then I ask, what does the Old Testament tell us? A Savior is coming. And what does the New Testament tell us? A Savior has come. Who is that Savior? You know, Jesus. Let's review that real fast. How many books are in the Bible? 66 great books. How many main parts is the Bible divided into? 2 main parts. What are those main parts? The Old Testament and the New Testament. What does the Old Testament tell us? A Savior is coming. And what does the New Testament tell us? A Savior has come. And who is that Savior? Jesus. All right, now I like to introduce to them the idea of different types of books. So the first 5 books in the Old Testament are given a special name. We call them the books of Moses. But you know what? We also call them the books of the law. And the third thing we call them is a very fancy name called the Pentateuch. We go like this because 5 fingers and it sounds fancy. Pentateuch. So what are the first 5 books in the Bible called? The books of Moses, the books of the law, or the Pentateuch? Then we have the books of history. And what do they tell us? His story. So all of this is God's story. Then we have the beautiful books of poetry and wisdom. And finally, in the Old Testament, we have the books of prophecy. So that's how as we teach them, they learn those things. Then when we get to the New Testament, I tell them that the first 4 books in the New Testament have a special name. What is that special name? The Gospels. And what do the Gospels tell us? How Jesus was born, how he lived, how he died, and how he rose again. What are the first 4 books in the New Testament called? The Gospels. And what do the Gospels tell us? How Jesus was born, how he lived, how he died, and how he rose again. Then we teach them that there's another book of his story, right, which is Acts. And then we talk about letters, and we also teach them that another word for letters is epistle. And then we talk about how the final book in the Bible is another book of prophecy, and that's Revelation. So that just gives the kids a good overview. Some of those details I don't teach them until we're actually learning the books, and I'll show you that in another video. Okay, so that is video. Oh, wait. No. There's another thing I need you to know. That all of the Bible tells us one story. And what is that one story? The story of God's glory. And it is also called the meta-narrative. What is the meta-narrative? The meta-narrative is the story of God's glory that goes like this. Creation, the fall, redemption, and new creation. So the one story of God's glory is a meta-narrative that goes creation, the fall, redemption, and new creation. There you go. That's a big overview in one video for kids to understand how the Bible fits together.